Welcome to Mr. Foy's Easel. Well, seasons are changing, from the hot summertime represented by this drawing to cool weather, and winter will soon be arriving. Here I've got a fella who's really apparently suffering from the heat, and he's walking down the street and he sees something in the store window that sort of surprises him. It's a store that has a big sale going on. Sale on what? Halloween stuff. Well, so much for the intro. I'm going to be dealing with Halloween and subsequent holidays a little bit today. And the reason I showed you this drawing is that we start planning for Halloween a lot sooner these days than we used to. Well, what about Halloween? One of the first things I want to explore about Halloween, in addition to this early start on it, is what are the main colors? Well, the one I just used there is one of them, orange, exemplified by jack-o'-lantern. You see this symbol used over and over, and of course you see a lot of pumpkins that have been carved up. The other color, if it is indeed a color, is black. Black and orange, I think, are the main colors. Give you some examples. Well, that's obviously, I think it's obvious. That's a witch's hat. And I'll draw some witches a little later. And oftentimes you see a rather stylized looking bat. I don't know if real bats look a lot like this, but you see these symbols of bats, and of course they're related to another symbol that I'll deal with later. And often you see some kind of cartoon of a black cat, and of course the witches and the bats and the cats symbolize the scary part of Halloween. Sometimes when I see these Halloween symbols like the bat, it reminds me of Batman, but anyway, that's another story. I mentioned witches. Well, let me draw you a couple of witches, different types. When the trick-or-treaters come around to your door, you might see a cute, innocent-looking little witch. Wouldn't be scared of this cute thing. All she wants is really some candy, please. And if you don't give her any, you're probably not going to get any, have any threat from her. But the mean-looking witch is also shown a lot at Halloween. Let me give you an example. Instead of looking so sweet and kind and gentle, the wicked witch usually has an angry expression, kind of like this one. Might be smiling, but don't let the smile cause you to let your guard down, because it's a wicked grin, and usually a witch or anybody else with an expression like this is not to be taken as a kind and gentle soul. And I mentioned colors here just a moment ago, and one thing I like, and I suppose most everyone does about Halloween is, well, let me explain further, but if I wanted to color the face of this cute little trick-or-treater, it might be, she might look something like this, have a kind of more or less innocent coloration, but hey, when it comes to the witches and other critters, most anything goes, like this corn-colored face, and of all things, blue hair, or any other color combination would probably be okay for the Halloween season. Now, witches, of course, are not the only spooky critters. Halloween characters, whether they're trick-or-treaters or in the costume parties or whatever, they have a wicked-looking ghosts. I'll come back to these ghosts here in just a minute, but first we'll have a short break and then we'll get into the spookiness once again.
Home security is now available through Conway Corp. It's an advanced solution backed by people you know and trust. Customize your system with motion detectors, sensors, light controls, and more, all managed from your wireless touchscreen or mobile phone. It's an easy way to protect the things that matter and the ones who matter most. It's safety for you, powered by Conway Corp.
Well, we're back. In cartoons, comic book cartoons, you oftentimes there's a little tinge of blue around the ghost's sheet. But now that's a spooky-looking ghost. We might be afraid of it. Of course, the ghost's always saying boo. And maybe this little ghost here would too, but well, the point I'm making here is in cartoons, sometimes the ghost looks like the kind of a spook that you wouldn't mind inviting in and playing a game of checkers or something. They too, of course, would have a little blue tinge around the outer edge. All right. Okay, now let's continue with some spooky characters in the Halloween season. Maybe you recognize this type of scary figure before I tell you. Notice the sharp ear. And the cloak. Well, of course, it's a Dracula type. He's supposed to be a vampire. And you can compare his expression with that of the mean-looking witch. And going back to the colors, sometimes, I don't know why, maybe just to make him scarier looking than usual. Sometimes a vampire is shown with an eerie, scary skin color. And of course, as you probably know, at a certain time, he may change into a little black bat. Well, here's another character that you might see at trick or treat or elsewhere during the Halloween season. This one's got horns. Of course, another wicked grin. That's the devil himself. And he might have a pitchfork in his hand. Now here I think, should always use the red. I don't know why, but all the devils I've seen at trick or treat have a mask that's very red. I guess symbolizing prospective heat, and eventually. But anyway, there are various others, of course. Sometimes I like to just make up my own scary Halloween character. I've never seen this one before myself. We'll see how he turns out. Got kind of bumps all over his ugly head and teeth sticking up like that. And I think maybe we might want to give him an unusual countenance. Purple monster, I guess you might call him. But there are many others. Of course, Dr. Frankenstein's monster, you see that figure in Halloween time. This is Dr. Frankenstein's monster's cousin, I think. Well, Halloween's a lot of fun, but you know, it's not much longer after Halloween that we approach Thanksgiving. And to make the transition a little bit smoother, I'm going to go back to this Halloween color, which can also represent a very important part of Thanksgiving, and that is food. Let's let this represent, of all things, a pumpkin pie. So pumpkins are good for scary Halloween symbols, but they're also very good to have when the family gathers around for turkey dinner and pumpkin pie. Speaking of turkeys, obviously turkeys are an important symbol of Thanksgiving. I like to show this with a turkey looking at a calendar, November. And the expression on the turkey's face is not a happy one. Oh, it's that time of the year. And there are other symbols of the Thanksgiving season. Pilgrims and Indians and fall colors and so on. But that's about all of our time. We may do more holiday exploration later on in Mr. Foy's Easel. Remember, you can contact Mr. Foy's Easel at conwaycorp.com.